Ooh.
That sounded like good, but the very end of it did not.
Welcome back, everyone, and happy President's Day. This is like one of
Politics, yay!
this is one of our few episodes that actually comes out on a holiday. So yeah, we're gonna celebrate it by doing it right. My name is Adam.
Hi, I am. Hold on. Let me go randomly here. I am Franklin Pierce.
And I am.
Ah, damn it! I should have gone with Chester A. Arthur. That's just a good fucking
I
name.
am
If you ain't Grover
James
Cleveland, I'm gonna
A.
be mad.
Garfield.
Damn it!
James
You
A.
don't have the
Garfield.
beard for that. Don't you ever fucking label yourself as him ever again.
No. But I don't know if you knew this, but in my 49th year, I fully intend to be assassinated in a train station by a 22 caliber revolver and die 5 days later from sepsis.
I am actually Jeff, though.
I am actually James A. Garfield.
On this glorious Monday morning at 11 a.m., President's Day, February 15th, 2021. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some American politics, maybe. We'll see.
We could talk about, like, Vietnamese politics or something.
We could. So President's Day was established in 1885 in recognition of George Washington.
Who was that?
Yeah, what'd he do?
I don't know. It was known as President's Day, though, after it was moved as part of the 1971's Uniform Monday Holiday Act.
We passed an act for that?
Yeah, in an attempt to create more 3-day weekends for the nation's workers. So it started off as just Washington's birthday, which we celebrated.
We used to celebrate Lincoln's too, didn't we? Like,
Yeah,
we used to do both of them
Around the
separately.
same time.
So Washington died in 1799, and his February 22nd birthday became a day of remembrance for him. We also celebrated Lincoln's birthday, at least here in Illinois. I don't know about other places.
Yeah.
I mean, in Chicago, they celebrate Pulaski Day.
But
Fuck yeah,
his
man.
birthday is February 12th. That was always like, we would always get Washington's birthday off and also be celebrating Lincoln's birthday. So they created the Uniform Monday Holiday Act. It's an act of Congress that moved permanently to a Monday 3 federal holidays in the United States: Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, and Labor Day, and that made Columbus Day a federal holiday as well.
We're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah, no. But so that's why we have this day, is just to combine people's birthdays around and, you know, have at it. If anyone is wondering, that makes 3 days ago Lincoln's birthday, and literally next week is Washington's birthday.
Oh. No? Okay.
Nice. I liked it.
You're doing great things, bud.
Sober Jeff is tired and wants food.
Have alcohol.
Yeah.
No.
No.
This is the first liquid substance that's gone into my fucking stomach that doesn't contain alcohol in like the past 12 hours.
All right, so I'll go with the earliest president I have. It means I also know Adam has him on his list. Let's talk about Andrew Jackson real quick. So Andrew Jackson, this badass motherfucker,
Seventh president of the United States.
seventh president, and he was president
Badass
from
motherfucker is a questionable term.
from 1829 to 1837. I say badass motherfucker, excluding the fact that he was in fact a slaveholder. Bad. And maybe a traitor, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, wasn't he like his whole thing treason?
Andrew Jackson, questionable past, badass motherfucker though. So let's see. Before he was president, he was the first president to be injured in war. He was a POW to a British officer when he was like 13 because he was a messenger boy for the Continental Army. And he was also then after that he led the charged to defend New Orleans during the War of 1812, which is a very interesting war, if anyone's wondering.
I do love all of the New Orleans shit. When I went to New Orleans, they talked heavily about that and how they got pirates on their side.
Yeah, he
That was
he
wild.
got pirates. He got former slaves. He got everyone who could hold a gun, and they held it, and they held it against a very strong Union force.
Well, the wonderful thing is right after that, he went on for the conquest of Florida.
Yeah,
Just switched from fucking New Orleans to Florida.
And then he went there, kicked the Spanish out, and he didn't kick the Spanish out. We bought it from the Spanish, but yeah,
And then kicked them out.
yeah, well,
Like,
you know,
it's like-
no one really wants Spanish people anywhere. In case anyone's wondering, I am in fact very Spanish. So I can make that joke. Later we'll make jokes about Austrians and certain particular Austrians. We'll do that on a later podcast. I can make those jokes too.
Everyone can make jokes about Polish people
Jokes.
being jokes.
Jokes.
I give everyone permission to make jokes about Polish people. We're awful.
So
You're not awful. You guys just don't do anything.
okay. So
We do a lot of things and they're janky as fuck, and that's why we ourselves say we're going to Polish it when we do janky shit.
So random historical fact that has nothing to do with our topic. Poland is actually like your world history is insane. It's actually really cool. Just from the fact that you basically didn't have a country for 100 years, and just
Yeah,
like
your Polish history was really cool from the time of like 1930s into like the 50s. It was a pretty cool time for your guys' history.
I was thinking more of the 1830s, the 1850s, but actually more of the 1730s, the 1750s. But because you didn't have a country then. Anyway, so Andrew Jackson. Adam, I'm gonna do I have one quick story, then I'll let you hit it, and then I have a final one. So Andrew Jackson, there was an assassination attempt on his life. Oh God, when he was in his second term, I think. I'm not entirely certain. I can't remember what. I think it was he was like an anarchist. An anarchist tried to shoot him. He had two pistols. He packed the powder. These were flintlock pistols, and he packed the powder too tight in the pistols. They didn't fire. Andrew Jackson, this was point blank range. Andrew Jackson, who I think was in his like 60s at the time, proceeded to then beat the crap out of him with his cane to the point where his security detail had to pull Andrew Jackson off of his would-be assassin to prevent him from killing the assassin.
Yeah, that makes
Nice.
sense. There was he had multiple in his second term.
Oh, multiple assassination attempts?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and the fact that I can't remember how old he was. I'll effort that, but he just beat the crap out of him with the cane.
My story of Andrew Jackson and his crazy marriage scandal. So Rachel Jackson, his wife, she was originally married to Captain Lewis Roberts. They separated in 1790. Soon after they separated, Rachel moved in with Andrew and just started calling herself his wife, without ever actually being married. Because of this, they decided to get married very quickly. But their marriage was nullified because her divorce with the captain was not yet official. They had not completed any of the necessary paperwork, but they had been separated for long enough that the community considered them divorced and just went with it. So they were able to get married. This made Rachel a bigamist and adulterer. And so she
That
just
was like
kept getting-
every other person back in the day.
Andrew and Rachel remarried in 1794 once the divorce was official, which soon after that, the legitimacy of their marriage was put into question because they were married in Natchez, Mississippi, which was Spanish controlled at the time, and the Jacksons were Protestants, and only Catholic marriages were recognized by the Spanish.
Hey, remember when we got like pretty much everything for like $10?
Yeah.
We got,
when
like-
we bought like the Louisiana Purchase was a hell of a thing. That was a hell of a deal.
We got half of our American land for $10.
But yeah, so after literally getting married, having it be nullified because she was still married, they technically weren't married because they got married on Spanish soil and they only recognized Catholic marriages. So
Jesus
Damn.
fuck.
it was later their marriage became real once, we fucked the Spanish. But
Hey, my people.
yeah, fucking wild.
This man was a badass when he was a child, a badass when he was an adult. Again, excluding the slave holding. We'll probably talk about a couple other slave holding presidents who did cool things. Slaves bad. Let's just get that out there.
Thomas Jefferson also was a slave owner,
Yeah,
and he wrote the Declaration of Independence. So
real cool piece of writing. Doesn't excuse slavery.
you
but
can be a bad
times-
person and still do
yeah.
cool things, is what we're saying.
Unless you're Adolf Hitler. Then fuck you. Or Mangala.
Yeah.
If you're Mangala, you also can't
Yeah,
do anything good.
Mangala can currently rot in my ballsack.
Mm.
I found out a fun
Yeah,
one.
we,
piece of
we, we,
information
won't,
on him.
we won't get into the whole bad
Nazi
people
party?
doing bad things but doing good things also debate right now. That's too much and it's too early, and I haven't had coffee yet. But Andrew Jackson, after his death, had a parrot. And his parrot was brought to his funeral along with his pet dog and a couple of his dogs. In the middle of the funeral, then someone starts swearing, and I don't know. Back in that day, swearing was a very bad thing in public. It wasn't just, oh, what the hell's wrong with that guy? It was oh my god, I got a case of the vapors now. So someone starts swearing, and then they keep swearing, and they're just fucking cursing up and down. Fuck you, cunt! Bam, 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 boom, bam. That is the extent of my knowledge of
Curse words.
16th century curse words. Yeah,
Fuck, cunt, bam, bam, boom, baba.
exactly. Or
I mean, that is basically the extent of their vocabulary back then also. So
yeah, pretty much. But finally they realize where it's coming from. Coming from a parrot. Andrew Jackson's parrot, which was in Andrew Jackson's office for the entirety of his life, was swearing up and down and only swore when it talked. Which means that Andrew Jackson probably had one of the filthiest mouths known to man and cursed up and down like a sailor. Because his parrot had to be removed from his own funeral for swearing.
That makes me happy, honestly.
It really does, yeah.
So another fun little tidbit. I'm gonna do this is just one of my little tidbits that is just fucking wild. So Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president of the United States, he frequently enjoyed having his head, he was bald, so he frequently enjoyed having his head rubbed with petroleum jelly while eating breakfast in bed.
this was
that-
who?
Ew.
Calvin Coolidge. That's my only fact on him.
Oh, Calvin Coolidge? Oh.
I thought it was fucking wild.
That's weird. It's his photo of him is him with hair. So
I mean, it was bald as in like Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? He had like
Oh.
the hair on the sides and back and wispiness on the top.
fucking it grosses me out.
Wait, yeah. That's my favorite president. for the
Well,
record. That's
that
he's my
checks out.
favorite.
It checks out. You like someone who likes petroleum jelly rubbed on his head while eating breakfast. So how would you like to be that Secret Service member who just he sits there taking tubs of petroleum jelly and just rubbing it on Calvin's
I guarantee you it wasn't a Secret
Yeah, yeah, it was-
Service agent who did
I was
that.
like, that's not what they do at all.
That was a White House maid. And probably one paid fairly well
Did
for
they,
doing that.
they did specify that this petroleum jelly was being rubbed on his, like, the head on his shoulders, correct?
They didn't specify which head it was.
Ah. Well, boys, looks like we have some time traveling to do.
Yes. Yeah. That right there. Best president NA right there.
I think this is also a wild story. So William Henry Harrison, our 9th president.
One of the fucking worst, but yeah, continue on.
I mean, he didn't really have a chance to do anything. So he became president on March 4th, 1841. The inauguration lasted 2 hours, and it was it had freezing cold temperatures. Because he was 68 in 1841, he developed a cold, which then turned into pneumonia, and he died of pneumonia on April 4th, 1941, only 31 days into his own presidency.
Which technically rules him as the worst president.
I don't know if doing nothing is better than doing anything at all.
Wait, hold on. By that metric, because that means he should be my favorite president because he did literally nothing. But by my own standards, that should be my favorite president.
Did he do anything? Because someone effort whether he did a single fucking
I
thing.
don't think he would have had time, but I can check.
I mean, but we said, but like Biden started signing things the day of his inauguration.
They didn't use executive orders that much back in the day.
okay.
They used it. So, little political insight. Executive orders back in the day were meant to make the legislation that was passed by Congress work.
Oh, he also
So
fought
if-
the War of 1812. Very cool.
So if there was a legislation, hey, build roads, build a road from New York to Pennsylvania, and that was a federal legislation, the executive order would have been, okay, spend this much, do this, do that to get the road built. It wouldn't be just legislation signed as it is today. That is for better or for worse. I'll leave that up to you, Jeff. Let's hit your personal fave. One, Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, what a guy.
I'll let you take it away.
He's a
What do you?
wonderful- He's a wonderful. He was like an animal lover. He was like a great hunter. He just fucking. He was like a fucking adventurer. He just, I don't know, man. Like he didn't really. I don't give a shit what he even did in office. He was just a cool dude.
So I did a couple reports on Roosevelt. I'll hit you with some of the fun facts. Let's see. He teddy bear named after him because he went hunting and someone wanted him to shoot a smaller bear and he's like, no, I will not. And then they're like, Teddy, you're a bear or some shit like that.
Was it
Teddy bear.
actually a small bear or was it a bear cub?
I think it was a smaller bear. It was a younger bear. It wasn't a cub.
I know he trapped it. I think he trapped it in
something
a
like
trap,
that,
and
yeah.
then he refused to shoot it, and someone just heard that story and decided to name a stuffed.
There's a lot of wild stories about.
Let's see. He was a Rough Rider.
Yep.
So he wasn't solely responsible for the winning the Spanish-American War, but he helped capture San Juan Hill by leading the charge. So a real-life war hero.
My favorite fact about Teddy Roosevelt is he is the person who invented the charge that we say going into battle. That was his speech.
Yeah.
Was charge.
Rough Riders were wild because it was just like his entire unit was cowboys and good old boys from New York. It was just
It
freed
was-
slaves, everything. It was everyone.
It was the Yee Yee boys.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
If you can say Yee, you can ride a horse.
Yes. Also, most of them didn't have horses because horses don't travel well on boats.
You can
And
ride
also,
each
a lot
other.
of them couldn't afford or a lot of them couldn't afford horses, and they had to supply their own. Which is why it was a lot of cowboys because they were able to bring their own horses. He is responsible for the modern day national park.
Oh yeah, I
he helped
forgot
get
about
that
that.
money. He helped negotiate the peace terms for the Russo-Japanese War. which would have most likely ended up in World War One happening earlier if it wasn't resolved. Let's see what else. This man, what was it? He desegregated a lot of the U.S. national government. Let's see what else when World War One broke out, he volunteered to go fight. They wouldn't let him because he was old as fuck.
Wasn't
he volunteered to go fight?
Didn't he end up having like polio? Who was
No,
that?
so when he was that was FDR.
That's it, yeah.
Same family, different person.
Yeah, same family. He was actually at their wedding, and fun fact, FDR married his cousin.
Fuck yeah, brother.
First cousin, by the way.
Spicy.
So Teddy Roosevelt was born with asthma and had very poor eyesight, very sickly as a child. And his father was drafted into the Civil War for the Union, but paid someone to take his place, which is something that you could do back then. And Teddy, Theodore, saw this as completely dishonorable and despised his father for it because he thought his father was a coward, and made himself into the man that we all see. He worked out. He was able to run like crazy, even though he had asthma. He became a crack shot. He just became
Crackhead, nonetheless.
I think he was a boxer and won like most of it. He lost like 3 matches his entire boxing career.
Yeah.
Also,
well, there's that wonderful famous photo of Teddy Roosevelt with his boxing gloves on.
His son, badassery runs in the family. His son volunteered to fight in World War One and was a fighter pilot. So he was in a plane that he pedaled pretty much. And he crash landed in German territory and died. And the Germans gave him full military honors because they thought it was honorable that a president's son would fight in a war. There was also an assassination attempt on Teddy Roosevelt where he got shot dead in the chest. His fat ass speech took the brunt of the hit, and the bullet only kind of went in. He then gave a hour-and-a-half speech and then collapsed. And yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt, isn't he also? He ran as a third party and is the closest to winning as a third party. As the third party's, it's
it was called it's not like a modern day progressive, he run
the Progressive Party in 1912, which is referred to as the Bull Moose Party, and it's the closest the third party has ever come to winning a presidential election. Sadly, the president who won in 1912 was Taft with 561, and Teddy Roosevelt got 107 electoral college votes, and that's the closest the third party's ever come.
So, the story behind that is that Roosevelt, he came into office when President McKinley was assassinated by an anarchist. It was late enough in McKinley's presidency where he would have been able to run for a second term and technically would have had like 3 terms. Like he would have been president for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But legally he was allowed to run for it. But when he became president, he promised he wouldn't run again for a second term. So he won re-election, and then he promised he wouldn't run again. But then at the end of it, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Everyone else sucks. I'll do it. Fuck it. I'll do it myself. In classic Theodore Roosevelt fashion. And he, like Adam said, he came very close to winning.
Very close, 107.
But yeah, badass.
Speaking of him coming in partway through presidency through a term, so Gerald Ford, our 38th president. So we all know that he wasn't elected president. He was appointed when Nixon resigned, but he also wasn't the elected vice president.
Nope.
He was appointed vice president after Spiro Agnew resigned, and he was the first person to be both vice president and president without ever being elected.
Yeah, that man found the loophole and wrote that shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
So I don't. We're talking about presidents, not vice presidents. But do you think Nixon was bad? Spiro Agnew was probably the most corrupt politician in American history.
I don't even
That
know who
man
the fuck
sold
that is.
everything for fun.
I've never heard of this man before doing research for this podcast.
Yeah, I've never heard of him either.
He was Nixon's original vice president.
I figured that.
Thank you.
Going off of the fact I just read.
You want to talk about how Ronald Reagan's entire time in office was pretty much actually just his wife doing it?
I didn't know that.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
also Bill Clinton, but
No. God, you don't know about Reagan's wife was like
Oh, right.
super
Reagan
into,
had yeah,
like
and
psychics
Reagan had,
and shit.
yeah. Reagan also
and-
had Alzheimer's towards the end, I think.
Yeah. So like she ended up like controlling like most of the things that he did, or like influenced him in certain ways because she really believed in like psychics and all that type shit, and like would take him to one all the time and or have one brought in because they never fucking leave the White House.
I got another story, and this is about George H.W. Bush, our 41st president. This is not George W. Bush. And this is a story that Nick doesn't even know, so I'm very excited. So on January 8th, 1992, Bush was attending a banquet hosted by the Prime Minister of Japan. At 8:20 p.m. Japan time, George Bush
And time.
George Bush vomited into the prime minister's lap and fainted. Doctors attribute the incident to a case of acute gastritis, I think it's how it's pronounced, which is just inflammation of the intestines lining due to some virus or bacteria or something. But due to this incident, the Japanese created a new word that is in their official language called Bushsuru, which literally translates to doing the Bush thing, but means to publicly vomit.
Nice.
That is one of my
Speaking-
favorite facts that I've ever heard. So
Speaking of foreign debacles by presidents, would you like to talk about how Jimmy Carter had the world's worst translator? Twice.
True.
but didn't Obama have a sign language translator that just made shit up?
No, I remember that. No,
Yeah,
that was like
yeah.
at Mangela's. That was like at Mangala at Nelson Mandela's funeral.
Yeah.
Like the translator was just fucking throwing up gang signs and shit, and people were like, "Wait, who is that guy? What is he doing?" It
I
was at Nelson
remember.
Mandela's funeral.
Yeah, I remember that. That was hilarious.
That was wild.
Jimmy Carter
okay.
was something.
I mean,
else.
that sucks for
All
deaf
right.
people, but that was funny for us.
Yes. So Jimmy Carter, while he was in Japan, also I believe, he was doing a speech, and he's giving a speech, and the translator's translating, and as you know, translators do.
Wow.
And he goes to tell a joke, and the crowd just splits a gut, and later. The president's like, "Wow, how did you deliver that? I didn't think it would translate really well in English." And the translator goes, "I didn't. My what I actually said was President Carter told a funny story. Everyone must laugh." And everyone laughed. And while he was in Poland, he was giving a speech. And the interpreter said, "I left the United States this morning." And the interpreter said, "I left the United States never to return." And followed it up quickly by saying, "I am happy to grasp at Poland's private parts." So the translator said in Polish that the president of the United States has left the United States never to return and wishes to grasp Poland's private parts. I hope that man was fired.
I'm sure they loved hearing that.
Jeff, this was in '77. This is still Soviet.
Yeah, I'm sure they loved hearing that. You know, after what happened to them back in the fucking 40s. But
Yeah, right.
that scab had like maybe just started to form, and then this
No,
fucker just ripped
that
that shit.
that wound was still open. They were still Soviet bloc. They were still under.
I mean,
under-
yeah. Isn't Jimmy Carter like the oldest living president? Also,
No, I think Biden might be older than Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter's 96 right now. My guy.
Is he? Oh,
So he's about the same age as Biden, but
it's pretty cool.
I don't mean like in office. I meant like to ever like live.
yeah, still living president.
HW might have been older.
I still think you're wrong. HW. What age did he die at?
It is Carter. It is Carter. You're right.
Yeah.
He's 96. Bush died at 94.
Yeah. Yep. Look at me. Yeah. There's my one presidential fact I knew.
Gerald Ford was 93. Gerald Ford and Ronald Reagan were both 93 when they died.
Yeah.
John
the first-
Adams was fucking 90. Good for him. That's
back then,
fucking
yeah,
wild.
that's
He was
old.
90, died in 1826.
Jesus.
Jesus. The first news event I remember.
James Madison was
Growing up.
85 and died in 1836.
I mean, they were
Yeah.
presidents, so like they probably did get the best medical attention, like throughout their lives.
There wasn't really medical attention.
Yeah.
I know. I
So they got the only medical attention.
yes, what I'm saying.
They got the best leeches. So, top 3 worst presidents, in my opinion. Least favorite presidents, at least. James Buchanan. Pretty much responsible for the Civil War.
I
Didn't do
think
fuck all.
I think everyone has him as number one.
No. Johnson's my number 2. So Buchanan didn't do fuck all to stop the Civil War.
He actually
pretty
kind
much
of
incited it. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say he pretty much told the South was like, fine, we'll just secede, and he's like, perfect,
Have
Do
this
it.
guy.
do it.
And that's how he got Lincoln. And then there was Buchanan, who after the Civil War, Lincoln put up left troops in the South to make sure that the former Confederate soldiers didn't kill the former slaves that he just freed. Buchanan, and he was also rebuilding the railroads and everything and making sure bad shit didn't happen again. Andrew Johnson just pulled everyone out and let it just basically turn into a wild shit show for the next 20 years, pretty much. So he's real bad. And then my least favorite president, and probably the worst, is Woodrow Wilson, who resegregated the U.S. government and played Birth of a Nation, the Klansman movie, as the first movie played in the White House.
Yeah, no,
He was real bad. He was real bad.
Yeah.
Huge anti-Semite.
I would say number 3. Let me fucking look through these. Least favorites. Yes, Woodrow Wilson. Definitely James Buchanan. James Buchanan is my number 1. Like, he literally started the Civil War, basically. If any one man could like really push people over the edge, it was that fucking guy. And then, fuck.
He literally left the White House, shook Lincoln's hand, and said, "Good luck," and just wandered off into the woods.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are definitely my top 2, though. I guess I don't really know enough.
That's a really solid top 2. Though.
Oh, it was Harrison. Not obviously not the one that died like 2 seconds into his fucking. Because didn't his son, not his son, but like didn't one another
Benjamin
Harrison? Yes.
Benjamin Harrison. What the fuck
Where
did
the
he do?
Why can I not find him? I legitimately cannot find that dude.
I don't have a list of favorite and least favorite
There
presidents.
he is. Jesus.
What did he do? What? I barely remember him.
Maybe this isn't who I'm thinking of. Who the fuck was it? Oh, sorry. No. I was thinking of Franklin Pierce.
Oh, Franklin Pierce.
Sorry, because Franklin Pierce was the one that kind of started things going towards the Civil War, and then Buchanan came in right after him and fucking
And
just
didn't
derailed. Yeah, just derailed everything from there. It's like having 2 idiots trying to fucking fix a goddamn.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a leak in our boat. Okay, well, I made
Let's
the hole
take
bigger
this
so we
piece.
can. So this piece can fit in there to plug it, and then the next guy, he's like, "Hold on, I'll help," and then he just takes a hammer and destroys the boat. He's like, now we don't have to fix the boat because there isn't a boat. That's Jeff's analogy for the day.
All right, I liked it. Let's see.
My favorite is FDR.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean,
Well,
what else do we got? We
Teddy
got
Roosevelt and then FDR. But I like FDR for the basically dragging us out of the fucking depression by our fucking like hair.
So something about American government that's real fucking stupid that I want to talk about right now is our fucking American currency, because it's garbage. It's
It is garbage.
straight trash.
It
First
is-
of all, the first thing we need to do is go the way of Canada and remove the penny, because the penny makes me, it's not good at all.
I would also like to go the way of Canada and get rid of paper money and go back to that like
That's
weird
true.
plasticky bullshit.
Yeah, so
That
Canada,
plasticky shit's cool.
I don't know about other countries, but I know Canada and the UK
Most countries have the
have
plasticky
plastic
shit.
money because recycling is a big problem that we have to deal with. So why not use the recycling to make money? We still have paper bullshit. And if you do plastic, it's harder to replicate still than our fucking paper money is.
Yeah.
Literally the closest thing to plastic money that we have is our $100 bills have a weird plastic strip down the middle of them, and that's it.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck?
Remember, you definitely don't remember it because it was in the 70s, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Remember when they got rid of the $1,000 bill?
Honestly, that's a good thing, though.
Yeah. So the whole point of that was because drug muling was a problem back then. And thanks CIA. And they would, and so the whole point of that was like when you needed to move a couple tons of drugs into the US, or it would be a drug deal like that, and it would cost, a couple $1 million, instead of, having an envelope with like $20,000 bills in it, you'd need at least a suitcase. And it would be harder to transport the money for that.
Fucking the $2 bill is wild.
$2 bill. I love $2 bills.
I love
There's
them
0
too.
points of them. There's zero.
Yeah,
of them.
there is no point except to have less $1 bills.
Yeah.
But I know, so John Adams, his house, museum, whatever, his estate, if any, like when you buy things from there, they try to only give you change back in $2 bills. And
Really?
they're the only place that in the United States that still gives $2 bills. Like obviously, like if you go to Target, you can pay with a $2 bill and they can give you change back in $2 bills and stuff, and they can do that kind of thing. But
you can go to a bank and ask for $2 bills, but it's not
Yeah,
not as fun as
but-
finding them in the wilds.
but
In the wild.
John
Jesus.
Adams, John Adams estate or whatever is the only place that like actually they are the only place that receives the $2 bills and sends them out to the wild. It's fucking amazing. I love that.
It's not as
and
fun.
it's-
I'm not like, I don't know. I worked at a bank throughout college, and I don't know, $2 bills are out there way more than you think they are. I
feel
got
like
them all
it's
the
just-
time.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's just a nice little thing. Like
It's a refreshing thing to find. Yeah.
they're out there more than we think they are, but at the same time, they're still not out there that much.
I think
And
silver dollars are more rare, honestly.
silver
Yeah,
dollar,
silver dollar. Yeah.
great.
Yep. Really, the big problem was when our currency stopped being made out of it's not copper anymore, like it's zinc,
Yeah.
like the pennies. Like that's granted, copper is needed much more importantly for making electronics than for making pennies, which is why you just get rid of the pennies.
Yeah, like literally, like get rid of this 99 shit and just make it 95. Like, what's the fucking?
Yeah.
Or
Hell,
if you really want to do it, make it an even number or like an even dollar amount. Or if you really want to do that, make it 205. I don't give a shit. Like,
Better idea. We'll take all stores and replace them all with Dollar Generals and Dollar Trees.
fuck you, right? Yep. You're not wrong. I can't wait for Dollar General steaks.
Yes.
That'll
The
be
one that was-
the highest quality.
isn't there also a general dollar? Isn't there a Dollar General and
Yeah,
a general
is it-
dollar?
There's everything. There's a Dollar Tree. There's
Dollar Tree is what we have up here.
Dollar
Tree is the most
General's.
popular around us. Yeah.
Yeah, Dollar General's a huge, like, out in the country rural bumfuck thing.
How are our thoughts on Andrew Jackson still being on the $20 bill and possibly changing it to Harriet Tubman?
I think that they should have done that years ago. I'm fine with that.
I don't give a shit because Andrew Jackson was meh. Like,
I think he was a cool president. I don't know why he was on the $20 bill. I don't think he did anything important enough. I just don't think that his historical presence was merited anything. Yeah. I think he was like a pretty cool president. Like, I think he did some cool
The
things.
thing about
I
changing,
don't think
though,
that.
is that's gonna yet again fuck our entire system more. Like flooding those out.
I mean, well, it's not like the Andrew Jackson's going to become illegal tender. It's still going to be
No,
legal tender.
I know it'll be legal, but then we're gonna have people like who are like, ooh, better collect these now. It's like a collector's item.
Remember those like dollar coins that had the presidents on them?
They still come out with them.
Yeah. Okay.
Every new president they create.
I remember that was a huge thing.
That started coming out when we were in like elementary school. They were like playing catch up, and now they're all
Did
caught
you guys
up.
used to collect quarters from all the states?
I
Yeah,
didn't get.
I never got it all the
that
way
much.
either. Yeah, my parents were more into it for me than I was into it.
I finished it, and then not long after I finished my collection, that's when they came out with so they had like other like random quarters
The
that they
national
had,
park.
but then so then they created the national parks about a year after I finished my collection, and I was like, oh, I'll collect these too. And then after like having like 7 of them, and like there was so much more, I was like, fuck this, and I pulled all of the quarters out of my fucking thing and put them in my bank. So
So you don't even have your state collection anymore?
I don't have my state collection anymore either. I just
Oh,
I think
I would. I
don't have
would've
it with
held
me.
on to
It's
that.
probably at my parents, though.
Yeah, I don't even know where the hell mine went. It was kind of cool. But...
Yeah, I took all my quarters out, and then I ripped my state collecting thing in half and then burnt it.
That's
Nice.
a wild flex.
It was it's a real weird
That's
flex to the U.S.
yeah,
government
that's
or the U.S. Treasury, but all right.
You guys, so have you ever done that website that's like Washington was here that like tracks dollar bills?
Yeah,
I haven't done it, but
yeah,
of it.
because I've had a few of those, and every time I get a dollar bill like that, I always track it.
It's always cool. It's technically defacing you government property.
I mean, yeah.
A
So
lot
is,
of
Technically,
things
it's a
are-
felony.
so is throwing change on the street. So
Yeah,
Did you know that most U.S. currency can be tracked by a drug dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, because one bill used to snort cocaine can contaminate the next like 80 bills in an ATM.
that's why. So this whole like because of COVID, like people using hand sanitizer all the time. I mean, I use hand sanitizer like 48 times a shift at work, like when I worked at the bank, because
money's gross.
money is one of the highest transferring of like diseases there can be. Like,
That's another reason we should switch to that plastic shit because it can actually be cleaned.
yeah. But yeah, like, because that's how you can get sick super easy working at a bank because just money touches everything and everyone touches money. Like, everyone has to use it.
yeah.
And now I touch like 2 doorknobs a day.
Nick barely touches that. He just has to go through this circular door.
Yeah, I have to
I mean-
open it up.
I mean, where I work, like our security badge is like you scan it and then the door opens. So
We can do that
Also,
too, but if we
you-
do that, the building gets cold.
I mean, but if you think about it, I work in a fucking warehouse. There's like 2 doors there anyways that I would have to go through.
Nick, I feel like you just push open the rotating door, and then the only doorknob you actually touch is the bathroom door because everything else doesn't have doors that you go to.
No, I open the revolving door. I open that in the morning. That's literally my job.
Open the revolving door because like the cafeteria is just open.
Like cafeteria's open. I mean,
Well, we
the
have, like-
stairs and the elevators.
We have like a public bathroom, so it's just like a push door. You don't have to like touch anything. Really.
Thanks everyone for listening to our bullshit. We told you to get political, and it did. Sadly, it just wasn't the politics you wanted us to talk about. But yeah, thanks for listening. You can find us wherever you find podcasts, and you can also search for us on all social media. Just search You Hate to See It and look for Chad. On top of it, we'd really appreciate it if you went to our Podbean. Just search for You Hate to See Us on Podbean, and once you're on our page, there's a little green button up in the top right-hand corner. Click on that. It says Become a Patron. And please donate at any level there. We have levels at $1, $3, $5, and on. And any amount helps, but you get a special perk for doing any of it. If you donate at the $5 level, you actually get unedited video versions of this podcast.
So you can realize how really scuffed we are.
Yeah, well, and also we get real spicy.
Very spicy.
We get very spicy, and we have to cut stuff out. so if you go to spend $5 a month, you get literally 4 very spicy episodes a month. So yeah, thanks so much. Does anyone else have anything else to say?
No, I'm gonna eat and go to fucking work.
Professional
times.
standards. Gustav says goodbye, and so does Nutmeg. Nutmeg! Nutmeg! There you go. Okay. She says bye.
Fucking cunt. I got nothing else on presidents. Like
I got you. Adam, money. There's my segue.
I'm gonna need you to make a better segue than that. Thanks. Dude.
watch us get no fucking clips this time. We're just not funny, which I feel like a lot of people would say we're not anyways, but